Sorry I'm so late today. This whole week has just been um, a week of extra duties in the morning, but look who's just right here purring away. Oh, she says, no, don't put me in the big light. Okay, but she was just right here. She's been so good and so cute. So every day I have extra kitten duties, but that'll stop after this weekend. This weekend I'm gonna take down her cage and she's gonna have free roam of the room. And then that'll make life a lot easier for everybody, including her. So welcome to our final Guanyin practice of the week. We have accumulated, as of this past Monday, over 185,000 recitations of our mantras. Last night, our temple had a virtual pilgrimage to Tibet, and we saw a beautiful oracular lake in Tibet, Yamdruk Gyutsu, and I recorded that session. It was an honor that Lama Wangmo chose to come to talk us through a little bit of the lore of the lake, and our hosts, Wu Serpel and Sewang Lamo of visittibetonline.com did an amazing job of taking us there. And it's not super easy to get around in Tibet. Like, there's big rivers and lots of mountains, of course. And so Wu Ser and his wife actually drove 3 hours just to take us to this lake, and so that we could see it. And then, of course, brought their family and everything. It was so amazing to be there with them. And yesterday was 100,000 multiplier karma day. So us going and visiting the lake last night was good karma for all. So it's just been a really good week in the Dharma around here. Oh my goodness, little Miss Thing has discovered the shelves. Okay, world, watch out. Here we go with kitten antics. Oh, it's beginning right now. Okay. No, please don't knock that over. Thank you so much. Well, come say hello. Okay, she says, no, I don't want to be there on the screen. Okay. All right, you go right there, but please don't climb the shelves. Thank you. Okay, so now let's begin our practice for today. And today is the last day that we're going to be doing this Guanyin part in the short bit of our practice. In the future, starting Monday, the near future, we will begin working with Tara. March is the month of Tara in the Mount Shasta Goddess Temple. So we'll be working with the 21 Taras. There are 33 different forms of Guanyin listed in the Lotus Sutra. Out of this month in our practice, we've managed to get through 19 of them. I'll bookmark this so that next year when we do this practice, if we're still using this book, we can finish the rest of the 33. So today's form of Guanyin, the final form of Guanyin we'll be working with for this month, is one leaf Guanyin, whose keyword is consciousness. And I'll show you the picture there. And here she is holding a large, beautiful, unfurling leaf. Here we see Guanyin standing on a lotus petal, gliding across the ocean. In her left hand, she holds a jade Ju-yi scepter. I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right. Joo-I, Ju-yi scepter, symbol of the Buddhist teachings. Oh, so it looks like a leaf, but it's not. It's actually made of jade. And in her right hand, she holds the essence pearl, the wish-fulfilling jewel. In this form, she protects us from premature death and dangers in water. A legend tells of a Japanese monk who had studied Buddhism in China and wanted to return to Japan. His boat was caught in a storm and he started to pray. Suddenly, he saw Guanyin gliding on a lotus petal across the waves. At that very moment, the storm calmed and the boat was saved. Another version of this legend tells that the monk had stolen a Guanyin figurine and taken it aboard the boat. Guanyin appeared to him as well, but pointed out his greed. In this image, Guanyin appears as the cosmic surfer who will maintain clarity and consciousness even during the greatest turbulence. She shows us the way when we're overwhelmed by the unconsciousness of worldly life and we need support and reorientation. Wow, I think that probably applies to many of us, that worldly life has been extraordinarily consuming and distracting this past year and this past month especially. Okay, little miss just climbed into a big basket. Now we'll see if she'll be able to get out. If not, she's in there for the practice. I'll bring her out in a minute. Okay, here from the Lotus Sutra. If one were washed away by a great flood and called upon her name, the Bodhisattva perceiver of sounds, one would immediately find herself in shallower waters. Invoke One Leaf Guanyin if you are in danger of becoming overwhelmed by the waves of unconsciousness. Use her consciousness supporting power and her skill to traverse those waters. Imagine yourself skillfully surfing across the roiling seas on your personal lotus petal, your wisdom and self-realization. The wisdom and self-realization are like the ship that carry us through the waters of life. If we can leverage the inherent wisdom of our primordial Buddha nature and our compassion and equanimity, we can accomplish more than if we're just kind of unconsciously doing all the things of life. She has now gone in 5 different baskets all around the room of all my different things. Okay, here we go. So today's divination, the final in this series, number 57. Have we had this one before, I wonder? We'll find out. Collaboration. Nope. We haven't had this one yet. Don't let the slew of small talk addle your brain. Isn't it better to honor yourself and earn respect? A wise one doesn't remember a person's age and shouldn't. You feel the same as I do. Let's put our thoughts together. So that's the Man Ho Kwak translation. Now we're going to have the Chris Wen Chao Lee translation. This is a promising outlook. Ignore their taunts of bastardry. Just savor the good life and live in style. Don't dwell on your origins or on the past. The mother and child can reconcile. A happy ending to your trials and tribulations, bringing out emotions much like that of a loving mother and child being reunited. Imagery of a child reunited with his mother. Help will come. The outlook is auspicious. And the translators have a note, which this is unusual. Usually we don't have a translator's note. So I'll read it. Allusion is made here to a tale from Chinese folklore in which a child born of a human and immortal goes in search of his fairy godmother. He then drowns in a lake and is rescued by a crane who turns out to be one of his mother's many manifestations. Fairy godmothers, I love it. Let's see what Stephen Karcher has to say. Gifts of fate. Destiny is giving you abundance. Go on your way with happiness and success as your companions. Leave the cares and sorrows of the past behind. And this is waxing moon energy, which is so perfect because the moon will be full tonight, just after midnight here. This is the source of energy and power in the origin of our sex drive. Use this passion to unfold your plans, rouse things, help them emerge and flower, free yourself and play. Look at the life cycles of birth and childhood and the symbols of thunder, wind, and wood. Fate has given you this wonderful time, a new birth, to enjoy and share. Leave the ghosts of the past and step into the future. What can and cannot happen, according to the traditional interpretation of this divination. The atmosphere of your household is troubled. Be careful of your relations. Avoid any kind of scandal or gossip. Business prospects are extraordinarily good. Count on success and an extraordinary rise in profits in the near future. Creative energy is on the rise. A significant relationship could develop smoothly and quickly. If you're expecting a child, it will be a daughter. Don't go to court, settle affairs in a friendly fashion. And don't change your home right now. It will bring you no advantage and will cost much more than you expect. So we're going to stay put. We're going to count our blessings. We're going to call on our fairy godmothers. We're going to look for an increase in wealth. We're going to avoid any manner of gossip or drama. And we're going to trust that all is unfolding as it should and that we can leave the past behind. So the past is even as short ago as one moment. So leave it. Leave it. Let's just go forward. Let's just be here. That is our short bit for today, if that's what you were here for. And if you're here for longer Guanyin practice, that starts now with 3 prostrations before the shrine of Guanyin. And I'm going to go find this cat in the basket and just make sure she's not getting in trouble. Come on. Come on, baby girl. She's having the zoomies in a very small room. Hey, Minerva. Okay. All right, let's see if we can have practice without too much zooming. Let's take refuge. Namo Guru Be. I take refuge in the inner teacher. Namo Buddhaye. I take refuge in the great mother of compassion. Namo Dharmaye. I take refuge in the wisdom of the ages. Namo Sanghaye. I take refuge in the community of practitioners. And let's set our intention, the person, place, situation, or circumstance that will benefit from today's practice. And today we're holding Cindy, who's having a flare-up of MS symptoms. And also holding Aurea, who is standing up for herself. And let's recite the 4 immeasurables. May I be a source of loving kindness in this world and all worlds, bringing a generous heart to all my thoughts and doings. May I be a vehicle of compassion in this world and all worlds, ever mindful and aware of the tremendous suffering of others. May I be a brimming vessel of joy in this world and all worlds, delighting in the happiness of others as their suffering is alleviated. May I be a balance point of equanimity in this world and all worlds, seeing all as equals and all as deserving of goodness. And let's make our offerings. I light this lamp as a symbol of the enlightening Dharma way. May it shine brightly for the benefit of all beings. I light this incense as an offering for Guanxi, she who hears the cries of the world, mother of all. Om Ahum. 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 Reverently I prostrate with my body, speech, and mind, and present clouds of every type of offering, actual and virtual. I confess all my destructive actions accumulated since beginningless time, and rejoice in the meditation of all holy and ordinary beings. Please, Guanyin, remain until the end of samsaric existence, and turn the wheel of Dharma for sentient beings. I dedicate my own merits and those of others to the great enlightenment. 108 recitations of Namo Guanxi Pusa, leaving the past behind. Sorry, we have got everything kind of got knocked around here. Okay, I want you to see Guanyin, YouTube. Okay, there we go. Namo Guanxi Pusa, 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 Namo Guanxi Pusa. Namo Guanxi Pusa, 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 Namo Guanxi Pusa. Namo Guanxi Pusa, 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 Namo Guanxi Pusa. Namo Guanxi Pusa, Namo Guanxi Pusa, Namo Guanxi Pusa, Namo Guan Shi Yin Pusa. 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 And we're going to be with the aspirational words of Yeshit Tzogyal amongst the last words that she spoke while she was embodied on earth. Wherever there is space, 5 elements pervade. Wherever the 5 elements, the homes of living beings. Wherever living beings, karma and defilements. Wherever is defilement, my compassion also. Wherever is the need of beings, there I am to help them. To the hungry, I was heaps of food and all good things, and thus I brought them joy. To the cold and freezing, I was fire and sun warmth, thus their joy. To the poor and needy, I was wealth and riches, thus their joy. To the naked, I was every kind of raiment, thus their joy. To the childless, I was sons and daughters, thus their joy. To those who sought a lover, I was a loving and attractive consort, and thus their joy. To those who wanted magic powers, I gave prowess in the 8 great cities, and thus I brought them joy. To the sick, I was their remedy, and thus their joy. To the anguished, I was all their mind desired, and thus I was their joy. To those hard-pressed by the punishments of despots, I was the loving friend to lead them to the land of peace, and I was thus their joy. To those in fear of wild beasts, I was a haven, thus their joy. To those who fell into the depths, I was their drawing out, and thus their joy. To those tormented in the fires, I was a quenching stream, and thus their joy. To those in prey to any of the elements, I was their medicine, and thus their joy. For those who could not see, I was their eyes and brought them joy, and for those who could not walk, I was feet, and thus their joy. I was a tongue for those who could not speak, and thus I brought them joy. To those in fear of death, I granted immortality, and thus I was their joy. I led the dying on the path of transference and brought them joy. To those who wandered in the bardo state, I was their spirit guide, bringing them to joy. I cooled the burning heat and warmed the cold of those lost in the realms of hell. Howsoever they were tortured, I changed myself to shield them, being thus their joy. To those who lingered in the land of hungry ghosts, I was their food and drink, and thus their joy. I was freedom from oppression and servitude for those caught in the wordless state of beasts, and thus I brought them joy. Those beings born in places of war, I protected them from strife and brought them joy. I was a truce from endless conflict for the demigods and was thus their joy. The jealous gods I guarded from their bitter fall, and I was thus their joy. I shielded all from everything that tortured them, and was their every joy. And now, 108 recitations of Om Mani Padme Hum as we open like the lotus and we unfurl the leaf within that allows new prosperity, opportunities, connections, and good things to come in. Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Mani Padme Hum. 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 And let's give thanks to our teachers. May all of my blessed teachers enjoy long, happy, healthy, productive lives and great support for their good works. May all beings benefit from their wisdom. May they enjoy a swift and happy rebirth. And long life prayer for Lama Dechen Yeshe Wangmo. Om Sosti. Through the powerful blessings of the immortal Pema Jungye and his consort, may the three secret qualities of the Dakini of Supreme Bliss, Yeshe Wangmo, be utterly stable, and may the light of her activities shine on the lotus groves of the teachings and of beings, so that they blossom in radiant splendor. And let's dedicate the merit. May the merit of this practice and all of my activities be of endless benefit to all beings in all realms, beginningless and continuous. May all obstacles be overcome and suffering cease at the sound of liberation. May all beings be free from suffering and its causes. May all beings have happiness and its causes. May we carry the essence of Guanyin in our hearts. Namo Guanxin Pusa. We close with a bow to Guanyin, bow to one another, and bow to the inner teacher. And please do drop your counts in the comments so that I know that I can add them to our overall count, which is over 185,000 so far. Might even be by early next week or by the end of next week, over 200,000. We're so close. Have a great weekend, everybody, and I will be back on Monday.